What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Now, I know it has been a little bit since we've posted a video, and I apologize about that. There's just been a lot going on in the last couple of months. It's been a little hard to stay on top of things. Obviously, if you can't tell, we're sitting in a new environment, a new shop here. No bad blood with the homies up at Sunnyvale. We're still gonna be doing the Conquest. We got some stuff coming up on that pretty soon. We're hoping to do some events in that car coming up in the next couple of months. But for now, this place is a little bit easier to get to, a little bit more convenient for Mike and I to be able to finish our projects. And I have some sentimental value attached to the shop too. So I am happy to be back here and working out of this garage. But speaking of the Supra, there are some things that we actually did to the car during the move. While I was kind of still making this place feel a little bit more like home, some parts started to show up that we were going to need for the major stuff that just showed up. A lot of the stuff that we got done with supporting mods. I finally got my filters and my pump mounted in the back. We got a riv nut gun and I'm loving that thing. I got a new radiator and cooling package set up for the car, so we've now got an electronic cooling fan, a new thick boy aluminum radiator, cleaned out all the lines, threw a new thermostat and all that jazz, got power steering hooked back up in the car. The pump's been in the car for a while, but I finally threw a belt on there. We kind of rigged some hoses together, drift motion supplied us with the pressure line that we need, and all is good there. Honestly, the steering feels amazing in this car. On top of that, got a few other things mounted, got a bracket made up for my catch can, and a couple other odds and ends. But the reason I did all that stuff is because we just had some major parts show up for this car. Some parts that are going to completely change the build, completely change how the car drives. If you couldn't tell by some of the parts that I had laying on the table behind me in the intro, I already did one side so I know what I'm doing so I don't mess this up. But we finally had our angle kit show up for the car. So this is Agile Performance's angle kit. Agile Performance is out of New Zealand. They make a ton of stuff for the MA70 chassis, including this extended track width angle kit. It's really cool. This kit is a extended track width, and I want to say it's like 75 mil wider. It's got a bunch of steering angle, fixes a bunch of the problems that the factory suspension will give you trying to drift a Supra. So I'm incredibly happy to finally have a solution for the front lower control arm and the front upper control arm, and obviously the outer tie rod end, I don't know what you'd call this, adjustment. So on top of that, it comes with a rear dual caliper bracket. It comes with your rear toe arm and your rear, I think they call this a camber arm or a control arm. So Drift Motion calls it something different than Agile, calls it something different than Techno Toy Tuning calls it, I don't know, it's an arm. Comes with the back stuff. It's really cool. Does not come with sway bar link, so if you do buy this kit, I would recommend replacing these. You'll have everything out anyway, and then a bunch of incredibly stiff energy suspension bushings, all the lube, everything you need to do it. And then, like I said, some of the nuances, it is obviously a different inner tie rod end, so they will supply you with that. This kit is honestly incredibly easy to install. The only real thing that you have to do outside of the norm is this fastener right here for your knuckle adjustment. This is a bigger size than what is on the car, so you'll need to drill it, you'll need to tap it. It's pretty easy to do. You probably could mess it up and it would suck because it's your knuckle, but again, pretty easy to do. Outside of that, this stuff essentially bolts in. Now you've got some really stiff bushings, and obviously this stuff is longer, so it's very tight putting it in, but they did an incredibly good job making this kit. Very, very, very cool. I kind of want to just like hop right into this because I've been waiting a couple days to do this, and I've literally just been pacing back and forth in front of my car. Before we do that, I'll show you the difference this makes from the stock stuff. So this is a stock MA70 lower control arm. First off, major weight difference between the two. This is the other side, but you can see like from where it mounts, the control arm itself is a little bit longer. You do have to go get yourself lower ball joints too. Forgot to mention that. You probably want to get yourself a set of those, and they suck to buy. And then you have your upper control arm as well, very similar to the stock stuff, just a wee bit longer and a lot more adjustment and a lot more fun. So I'm rambling at this point. I want to start getting stuff taken off the car. We've already got the wheels off the Supra, got the car up in the air. So let me get these brakes off, let me get everything stripped down, and we'll take it from there. Alright, so I got the brakes pulled off and I got all the bolts and everything loose up here, ready to come out. So we're going to start with the upper control arm. Obviously, right on top, super easy to get to, and I want to get the new one in so it can support the knuckle for us to go ahead and throw our bottom ones in. Now, like I said, it is essentially a bolt-in affair, but if you've noticed, there's no bushings in these control arms yet. So the first thing you got to do before you even put them in is get your bushings put in. Alright, and these bushings are not hard to press in, they're not hard to do. They literally just slip in to each side of the control arm like that on both sides. But if you don't want your stuff to squeak, you want it to last a long time, they provide this lubrication for the bushings to keep things healthy over time. Obviously, these are going to see a ton of abuse. These bushings are going to be moving like crazy, so you want to make sure they're healthy. Again, pretty easy to do this. I just put a bunch on here, slather up the bushing surface, and slide it on in. And like, from everything that I've read and everything that I've experienced, it's kind of hard to go overboard with this. You want to make sure these bushings last. So don't miss this step. And once you have your bushings nice and greasy, lathered up, you'll need your bushing inserts. Now these go through the middle. This kit has some washers welded to the end of them. I believe that's just for install to help keep the washers in place. I'm gonna do this not like an idiot this time. Before I did it like that, and then I had to figure out a way to shove this between the car and the control arm. So, piece of advice when doing this kit, put the welded washers on the inside. And you should end up with something like this. This is ready to go in the car. Now, obviously, it's not the same side to side. This little cutout should go in the back if you look close. It's kind of offset between the shock. So make sure you're also putting that in the correct direction. But that's pretty much it. The bottom is even more straightforward. There are just heim joints on this end. You bolt your factory ball joint to these 3 holes. And then you've got these little machine spacers that go on each side of your heim to take up the extra space where the bushing would otherwise have gone. So pretty straightforward, pretty much falls into place once you have all that stuff done. So we're gonna go ahead and get this stuff swapped out, and then we'll get on over to our knuckle adjustment. And there it is. We have the lower control arm in, the upper control arm in, our new sway bar link is in, everything is nice and tight, looking good. So like I said, let's move our way on to our knuckle adjustment. Now, essentially what this does, like I said before, is it moves your inner tie rod end in, and it changes the amount that this knuckle can turn. And you actually have 2 adjustments on here, depending on how aggressive you want the steering. It's very simple to install this. Now, this is kind of where I said there was a nuance with installing this. This bit of hardware I had laying around, and it fits this factory hole just fine. Now, it doesn't exactly fit this hole perfectly. I read they want you to drill this out to an M10. I've also read that it's fine at an M8. I'm gonna run an M8 in it for now until I get the right drill and tap, because they did provide bigger hardware for this, but for now, this seems to work just fine. This would act as the bolt where your old tie rod end went, and you have this little machine spacer here that has a bevel to it, so it should fit right in this hole where your outer tie rod end went. Hardware goes on. This bolt goes in back here. And just like that, you've got an angle kit. So now we've got a bunch of steering to play with. So what we got to do here is tighten this up, and we'll be good to move on to the back. One thing that I didn't get on camera that I missed was there is a rack spacer. If you don't know what rack spacers are, they go between your inner tie rod end and the steering rack, and I believe it changes the ratio or something like that, but it's included in the kit. They want you to run it, so run it. So I'm gonna get this tight, and let's move on to the back. So now that we have our fronts done, we can move to the back. The back is incredibly simple. It is literally 2 bars. Your front toe arm here. It's got a little ball joint on the end of it. You probably can't see behind the brake rotor. And then it's your rear camber arm in the back. Again, very, very simple. It's a bushing, a bolt, tighten that onto the knuckle. That arm's done. This basically just bolts onto the knuckle. You've got these little inserts for your heim joint on this end. Do this side first, then this side. Once that's done, we'll go ahead and throw our dual caliper bracket on, and we're pretty much done with the angle kit. That we could throw wheels on here, put it back on the ground, see what it looks like. That's what I'm the most excited for. So, without further ado, I don't want to film this. There it is, fully installed. Yo, dude, that's so cool. I am very, very, very happy. Look at the turning angle on this thing. That is absolutely wild. Yeah, and like I was talking about at the beginning too, some of the other stuff that we did, the radiator, the cooling fan, made it look a little nicer in here. I forgot to mention as well, got myself a new blow-off valve, and finally installed the hood struts. It's kind of wild how much I didn't realize I was missing them. And now that I have them, I will never own a car that doesn't have them.
Yeah, they're really freaking nice, aren't they?
Oh yeah, yeah. And almost as soon as I snapped them in, I was almost more excited about them than finishing the angle kit today. But
beats a jack handle a lot, doesn't it?
it really does, for sure. But I got to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. And now I got all the arms in. There are still a few more bits and pieces to this kit that I gotta put together before like it's fully done. Like I was saying, you can see how bad that bushing is in the back, so I gotta get a replacement bushing for that. Techno Toy Tuning makes a solid insert for that bushing as a replacement, so there's a little bit less deflection out of that particular corner. And then of course there's this arm as well that needs to be replaced. This is the caster arm in the rear, or the trailing arm I believe it's called, and it's slightly bent, which is a super common thing to happen on these cars. These trailing arms bend. Yours is probably bent, so it's probably time to replace it as well, and I'm gonna do the same thing. Then I will have almost all the suspension. The rear upper control arms are the only other things that will be stock on this car, but I don't need to replace them, so there's really no point in throwing adjustable stuff in there until I know that I need it. But geez, let's throw some wheels on this thing, dude. I wanna see how it looks on the ground.
Yeah.
Whoa. Not even on the ground yet, and you can see the difference in the front, man. That's crazy.
That's ignorant amounts of camber.
Ah, dude, that fits sick.
That's
Look at how much wider that track width is. This was under the fender before. That's insane. Now there's no way I get to full lock without these rubbing. I don't think these wheels
Oh my Christ.
And that's not even full lock yet. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm rubbing now on the swing. Holy shit. Dude, that's so cool.
That's just a little bit excessive.
A wee bit more than we had before.
A wee bit?
Dude.
And now it doesn't bind like mine because I removed the steering stops.
Man. I'm so hyped with this.
I swear, this side is like way more extreme.
I'm sure the Ackerman's not set up properly, and I mean obviously there's no alignment on the car, nothing is adjusted, so it's gonna be wonky,
like
but dude.
Leg day. Look at the rear.
Yeah.
How it's in the
See, that's what it looked like before. Almost a full suspension car now. And now that we've got our upgraded cooling system, we got power steering back in the car. It runs. There's no air leaks. There's none of that crap. It only barely leaks coolant. So, I mean, like, dude, we should be pretty much ready for the dyno.
And it has hood struts.
And it has hood struts. Probably the best part.
That is the best part, yeah.
100%.
This is, that.
Luxury, bro.
Oh my god, yes it is.
Now I just need the ones for the trunk. Dude, that is the heaviest trunk in the world.
Oh yeah, they're heavy as hell. And trust me, it sucks when they land on your dome. It's not pleasant.
Oh, yes. I'm sure we both experienced that one or two times, but sweet! There you have it. That's an angle kit on the Mark III Supra. I don't really think we have anything else to do today, but oh, dude, it feels good to see the car back on the ground. And now with angle. Unfortunately, it's a little too dark for us to go do anything. I don't want to piss off the neighbors. We are no longer in the middle of nowhere, Minnesota. We're down in the middle of the city, so it's how I have to drive this thing around at night. So with that being said, that is probably going to do it for today. Stoked, the angle kit is on. When we come up here next, I want to string align the car. I want to get it to the actual alignment shop, have Mikey do a real alignment on it. And then when it comes back, we should be good for the dyno. And then those rear knuckle bushings, and then seat brackets, and then a few more things. But until then, hope everyone has a great rest of their day. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. We'll see everybody next time.